my God. I spent 20 years trying to get us ready for this. We used their technology to strengthen our planet. But it won't be enough.
I see them in my dreams. They're coming back.
Movie month. It is my 4th annual movie month. I'll watch 30 movies that I've never seen in 30 days. In 1996, I was going into it was the summer of 96. I was going into my junior year of college. And it was at this point that I decided to change my major from film to interactive media, working with computers. And I remember mentioning this to my grandparents, and my grandfather, trying to be very helpful, tried to get me a job in computers, for the summer. He ended up getting me a job with someone who was in the Lions Club with him. I believe it's the Lions Club. It's almost like the Water Buffaloes or the, those any of those men's clubs that you'd have. This was the Lions Club. And he got me a job with a guy who ran his own computer company for the summer, which was great. Except that really, I was trying to use computers and be a web designer and, work with, like at the time, CD-ROMs. And this gentleman created hard drives for computers, basically built big arrays for computers with, multiple hard drives for video editing. And it ended up, I remember like some of the drives that he had actually ended up at where I work now, years and years ago. And I think somewhere at my school. I mean, we shipped them all over the country. I know this because my job was putting computers into boxes and shipping them. I got used to, I could build the box, I could ship literally, this is what I would do. I would build the box, put the foam in, clean the hard drive out, with like fantastic, the casing. I would wrap it very nicely in plastic, place it in the box, tape up the box, and then do all the paperwork for UPS or FedEx. So yeah, that was my introduction to computers at the time, and that business has since been bought out and is gone. And I think home computers are fast enough to do that stuff now. Long story long, but that job took place in Andover, Massachusetts, not far from the Andover train station, if you're familiar, Dundee Park. And my commute every day would be going backwards and back and forth, and I'd be driving by the old Lawrence Showcase Cinema. If anyone grew up in the Methuen, Lawrence, Haverhill area of Massachusetts, there was the Showcase Cinema that had, I believe, had 4 theaters, 1 through 4, and it was like this big double-decker theater. I mean, it was not a double-decker, but it was a big building. It was the movie theater when I was a kid. Then they added 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10 across the street. So there was one theater broken up into 2 buildings. Those 2 buildings are still there. The movie theater over the last couple of years completely closed down. The last time I think I saw it was being used to actually film a movie recently. But those movie theaters are gone. But long story short, I would drive back and forth every day past those movie theaters. And in 96, I remember saying to my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and my parents, we should all go see this movie. And I'm going to buy tickets for it because it's going to be this huge summer blockbuster, and it's going to be really hard to get tickets. And we definitely have to get tickets. So I'm going to get tickets on the way home from work, come home, we'll eat dinner, and then boom, we'll shoot back to the movie theater and skip the line and get into our theater. So I remember going up, asking for 4 tickets to Independence Day, going home, getting really excited, pulling out the tickets, and seeing 4 tickets to Striptease. Yes, the Demi Moore stripper movie. I had 4 tickets to bring my girlfriend and my parents to see Striptease. So I freaked out because this is the age of having to go to the theater and buy tickets. And, up until a few years ago, at least around here, you get to the it's first come, first serve as far as finding a seat. So freaked out a little bit. We went to the theater. I remember getting in line and running up and saying, look, we bought tickets to Independence Day and you gave me Striptease. There's no way I bought 4 tickets to bring my parents to Striptease. I'm going into Independence Day. And luckily, they let me in. I don't even know if they do. I don't think they could do that nowadays because at least in the movie theater in Methuen now, everything's assigned seating. So if you don't have the right seat, you're not getting in, especially if it's sold out. And this was sold out to the degree where we got 4 seats fairly close, which I don't love seeing close, especially before there was stadium seating. And, I just remember looking up, and there it was in front of me, what I thought was the greatest movie, because I was big into aliens then. I was big into, I was reading books on aliens. I loved, I got back into Close Encounters, and they kind of show the aliens. Oh, we get inside, we get to see inside the alien ship in the different version, and these different things. I was big into movie trivia and aliens then. I was finding the Internet Movie Database. It was all kind of, I was still being a film nerd, even though I moved out of film to work in computers. Going back now, years later, or not that far after, I remember thinking, this movie is not that great. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of that disaster porn. It's not as smart as you think it is. Uploading a virus to destroy aliens, kind of dumb. But at the same time, it holds a special place in my heart. That speech from Bill Pullman, the shot of the shadow, the first shot of the shadows going over the moon. Still, I have to say that's an iconic shot. And of course, the shots of the White House exploding and New York exploding are pretty iconic, pretty great cinematic moments for big action movies. And I remember for years thinking they're never going to make a sequel to this. They're never going to make a sequel to this. And 20 years later, what do? They made a sequel to Independence Day, and that is today's movie. So I took a long loop of a story to get to today's film, Independence Day Resurgence. Not Independence Day 2, blah, blah, blah. Independence Day Resurgence. Starring Jeff Goldblum from the original, Judd Hirsch from the original, Bill Pullman from the original, and Brett Spiner from the original, and a couple other people that I know were in the original. I don't know their names. And, Vivica A. Fox was in it for a moment, for a fleeting moment. And, of course, Will Smith backed out, and the dumbest thing was he died in a test flight, and they just kind of mentioned it. They showed his picture, which looked like a publicity still for Independence Day, which makes no sense, because why would they have a photo of him out in the desert? That's always the way it is in movies. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, he died as a test pilot. Like, really? That's it? And no mention of Harry Connick Jr.? No mention of Randy Quaid? Thank God Randy Quaid, his character died in the first one, because I don't think they'd want him back now. Let's just say that. And I have to read the movie trivia, because there might have been more references. They showed a wall of names that died in 1996 with the original alien attack. And there could have been names there that are familiar. I'm guessing Randy Quaid's name was there. I don't know. I'm going to have to read on that. But did we really need an Independence Day sequel? The answer is no, we did not. Was this a good movie? The answer is no, it was not. Was this movie kind of stupid? The answer to that is yes, it kind of was. And did I enjoy it? The answer is yeah, kind of. It's weird because you watch a movie, you roll your eyes going, that's dumb, or that's bad special effects, or what's the point of that, or that dialogue is awful. And then something else happens, and you go, ooh, and you get this false sense of whoa, wonder, ooh, and you realize they're just tugging at your heartstrings for certain things, and you're like, man, this is not that good, but that's kind of cool, and that's kind of cool, and you get sucked into it. Some of the special effects were awesome, some of them weren't that great. It was weird because the aliens looked cool, and then there was a moment where they were watching footage of a test flight where these two young pilots kind of collided, and they were the main character, who's Liam Hemsworth, Thor's brother. He's in some of the Hunger Game movies, or all of them. More on that later this month. And there's a scene where he's looking at a video of the flight, and it looks like maybe PlayStation 2 quality digital video. It looked so piss poor. I was like, is this a video? It looked like a digital recreation of an accident, not the video from an accident. So that was pretty bad. And yet other special effects were really good. It's weird because sometimes like they'd show the spaceship, but then they show the spaceship over a video monitor, and it looked like it was bad computer animation. I'm going to spoil this movie, so if you don't want to hear anymore, or if you really feel the need to watch it, it's on HBO right now. I apologize. You could stop listening now. But like the way they killed off Vivica A. Fox, I don't know. I feel really awful that I started laughing. Because she gets this pregnant woman on a helicopter. She's like, go! She saves this last woman in a hospital, and of course, right when she puts the woman on this helicopter, the building starts crumbling, and she holds on to the guy, and she's like holding on to one of the guys in the helicopter, and then she just lets go, or she just slips and falls, and of course, this is all seen in front of her son, who's a pilot, like a fighter pilot, Will Smith's son. And he's like, no, mommy. And she's like, no, I'm falling. And that's it. She's gone. And then there's another scene where like Sela Ward's the president, and they say, her base has fallen. We've come to, swear you in, General. And this new general, who's William Fichtner, I believe is his name. He becomes the president, and I thought, oh, this is kind of they're baiting us. Like we're gonna think he's the president, and then boom, Sela Ward's gonna come out and be like, I'm alive, and she's back to the president. No, they just completely killed her off, and she's gone. That was it, which was weird. I thought was kind of, I don't know, kind of not good. But it's nice to see William Fichtner or Fincher or whatever you say his name not be a two-faced, not be a villain. It just be a good guy, because I like the actor, but so many times you see him like being the character with ulterior motives, or the character who you think is good but turns out to be evil. But he's just a general. He's just a general, and I enjoy it. I enjoy him. But most of all, this movie's, it's a lot of special effects with real, basic story, some enjoyable moments, some cringy like eye-rolling moments, and nothing special. It's just nothing special. It's not good, and it's nothing special. And the moment, like, some people gave it positive reviews. It was funny, even on Rotten Tomatoes, the positive reviews weren't saying many positive things. Like the movies, the people that called it fresh weren't saying great things. And I think I saw something where Albert Brooks once talked about dialogue in a movie, and it's always kind of stuck with me when people over-explain things. It's like, come on, man, I graduated third in my class, that's why I'm the smartest one, or you're my brother, and that's why I love you. It's like we could just find out that with your brothers, when you see someone and say, hi ma, that's how your brother, or something like that, where they have to talk in a way that nobody talks, to explain things to the audience so they can figure it out. I call that bad writing, but these aren't dumb people writing it. So, but I call it like writing for dumb people, like pandering for a dumb movie. Like, oh, we kind of have to write this way so people understand things, because not many bright people. There's going to be a lot of not bright people watching this movie, and it just. Not that I consider myself so bright, but when that was pointed out to me, you kind of notice it more. You notice when people be like, I've been doing this a long time. Like they've just told the person they're with this, I'm your brother, I love you, or I've been doing this for a long time, or I'll get you back for what you did to me that time on the ship. It's like, okay, you're bringing it up right now so that we know something happened in the past. So that's just my tangent on writing in general. But who am I to talk about that? I write emails. That's about all I write. I don't have much else to say. After seeing a movie that was awesome last night, that I loved, I saw a movie today that I had some enjoyable moments, some nostalgic moments. Bill Pullman, moments where you I go, oh, cool, and at the same time I know this movie's just pretty much shitty. So that's all I'm going to say. For nostalgic's sake, if you got a couple hours to kill and you want to see kind of a dumb, big action movie, I would say give this a try, give it a watch. But if you're going in looking for awesome science fiction, you can just, or if you need to see how the story continues. Okay, and I say that, how the story continues, how the story ends. The way this movie ends, this is the worst part. I'm saying this movie's not that good. And then at the last moment of the movie, they talk about something and they set things up for a sequel. And I'm like, yes, I want to see what happens next. What's wrong with me? I'm like, yeah, okay. Are they going to make another one? They kind of set it up to make another one. This movie didn't make a ton of money, but it made money, I think. It seemed like it made money. If they could just make it cheaper, it'll make more money. So keep making these movies. Why the hell not? I'm tired and it's only 11 in the morning. Usually I'm doing this at 11 at night. Oh well, I'm done. Thank you guys for listening. We're on the back 9, I like to say, the back 15. It's day 16 of Fans Not Experts Movie Month. It's in the books with Independence Day Resurgence. I almost forgot the movie. Thank you for listening. Find me on Twitter at Geek Mentality, on Facebook, Fans Not Experts. The website is fansnotexperts.com. And the hashtag on Google, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram is hashtag FNE Movie Month. Until tomorrow, and tomorrow's probably going to be a bad short movie because I have plenty of I got a graduation party and a 40th birthday party, so I'm going to have a lot of time to do things. So until then, here is my theme song. This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.